All right, we are back with some more modern action. I'm, of course, some NanMan bringing you all the modern action over here on the channel. And this time around, we are going back again to 2015 with round number 2 of our Sears charity tournament that we got to participate in and record up all the matches for. So this is, of course, like I mentioned, round 2. There's 5 rounds that we're going to be broadcasting and showing up every Monday for the foreseeable future, and then the top 8 to show you. But let's get into it, talk a little bit about these 2 decks in particular, because we've got some cool, spicy brews for you today. And on the left here, we've got this Dimir Tezzeret control, artifact control, whatever flavor you want to call it. I should have asked specifically what the preferred name of the deck is. I've just sort of decided to go with like a amalgamation of all of it. But if you played back in the day or play if I could speak, if you've played modern, an artifact-based deck, specifically like a lander control style of deck, it is very reminiscent and similar to that, except this one is more of a like artifact control element, and we don't have the lantern pieces, we have other pieces here. Now, just like in our previous video, we see a Flagstones of Tarkir, and we are utilizing our Ghost Quarter to be able to get it. So, like that little option here, we got to see that in round number 1. Sadly, our player made the slight mistake there. Again, having not played with the cards very often, they put them into hand instead of on the battlefield. But we see the double white ramp there off of not having the white mana on the end step. So I like that option to go for here. So let's talk a little bit about the Martyr of Sands, and we'll get back into it about the Dimir Tezzeret deck, because both these decks are very cool. But you see already both of them are sort of kind of like protecting themselves, building up their pieces right now. We see the Ghostly Prison coming out, the Spellskite coming out. Not that Spellskite is necessarily going to be as beneficial here in this matchup, but definitely a powerful creature to protect your artifacts. Squadron Hawk. How many people have heard of this card or played this card ever? I mean, if you were familiar with the like Callblade decks, then you kind of know of this card, but otherwise you probably have never casted it or seen it if you did not battle it out during that time period here. But this deck in particular, Martyr of Sands, mono white, control style element, life gain style element. It's very powerful with a lot of low to the ground creatures and an aggro plan on the back of a control plan, right? It's got a little bit of everything, and it can pivot its game plan as it needs to, many different ways and many different avenues. So it's very tough to target and battle against certain pieces, because they can just go, oh, okay, cool, I'll pivot into this way. Now, the Dimir list we're seeing here, like we're seeing Tezzeret come out. This is basically the big powerhouse of the deck here. The +1 is, Ancient Stirrings here. Look at the top 5 cards. But you only get to find an artifact. Rest go to the bottom. The -1, Insult Artifact, though. Target artifact becomes a 5/5 artifact creature. Now, the Ghostly Prison does help slow that down, so I don't know if we're going to be utilizing that as much, but the -4 is the big one. Target player loses X life, you gain X life, and it's twice the number of artifacts that you control. So that's definitely a win condition that the deck has, but the main board Spellskites are crucial in 2015 because how powerful Twin is, and I feel like that is a big reason to play this deck. Playing a homebrew and really going in kind of aware of the meta and kind of what to expect, and going, oh, I'm expecting a lot of Twin, or I'm expecting a lot of this, so these sort of tools are really going to mess with my opponents a lot. But of course, if you guys like the content we have here, consider subscribing, follow along, because like I mentioned, we do have basically the entire month of May and a sprinkling of June. Every Monday will be our breakdown of the 2015 tournament that we were participating in. Thursdays is going to be our present day modern content. And then on Saturdays, we've got a sprinkling of MTGO content, Legacy, Pioneer. We've got some Pokemon Cube videos that we're building a Pokemon cube with. So a lot of fun stuff to be able to check out here on the channel. But I like this Mistvale Plains here. Put target card on the bottom of your library. Again, the sort of like control-y elements of it. So we will be able to kind of utilize our cards a little bit more. Squadron Hawk going to start flying in. Start chipping away. Squadron Hawk number 2 going to get deployed here. And we're just sort of on the aggro plan right now. We have not revealed any of our other tools yet. We're just sort of, yep, Squadron Hawk number 3. We're just going to kind of go all call all the time. And just kind of hope to kind of flap our way across to victory and at least get rid of the Tezzeret. Like, that's kind of our main game plan here. But the continual uptick does make this hard. You can see, oh, is that a snuff out? Not snuff out. What is that? There's like a destroy 3 or less or something like that. I don't know. But, oh, okay. Bottled Cloister coming out, being revealed here. This is like, I ran a one of this in my Lander Control deck back in the day. It's super high synergy because you get to get rid of your hand on your opponent's turn. So, like, Ensnaring Bridge makes it so they can't attack. And then you draw an extra card on your upkeep. So you're basically drawing 2 cards a turn and keeping yourself protected there. So, really cool card. It does cost 4 mana, but, like, if you're in this sort of, like, prison-style lockout, I guess we could call it, like, Tezzeret Prison or something like that. I don't know. Like, because you know, you're running artifacts, you're going to have, like, chalices and things like that in here. But there we see the Bottled Cloister coming up. City in the Bottle. And a little bit of removal here as well. Executioner's Capsule. And a Welding Jar as well. Okay, so we're just sort of like, here's a bunch of tools. Tezzeret's going to drop to 1 loyalty after this turn, though. Another Plains. And 3 coming to Tezzeret, dropping Tezzy to number 1 in loyalty count here. And there is the first reveal of the secondary game plan that it's got, Sarah Ascendant. So that's kind of that Martyr Proc element we were talking about. Martyr Sands being able to reveal our white cards in our hand, and we're going to gain 3 times the number of white cards revealed. So it's pretty easy to get that Sarah Ascendant to get up enough life total to be able to be a 6/6 flying lifelinker. But we see continuing to utilize our Bottled Cloister here, looking for some tools to help us out. I mean, at least with the capsule, we can shoot down the Sarah Ascendant. Also, signed copies of it too. So, very cool. I know our Martyr player had talked about they had piloted this deck for many, many years and many different variations of it. You know, grinding it out on the SCG circuit back in the day. So, like, it's they know the deck. They've put in the reps for it. So, this is definitely one that it's great to be able to see players bring decks that they have so much experience with. Even when you're doing these like homebrew stuff that we see on the Tezzeret side, it doesn't mean you don't have experience with it, especially if you're like, oh, I play multiple different types of artifact decks. I'm just trying out this flavor of it and seeing how these tools go. And so, yeah, definitely very cool to see both of these decks ballot out in round number 2 here. But Spellskite number 2 coming out, a little bit more protection. Doesn't really protect us against the birds, but still, we could, you know, ensoul an artifact. Not anymore because we did the upticky here, but that's okay. But this sort of shows you what the game plan can be, right? It's like, oh, I can start ensouling different things and go into like an aggro game plan. I could just sort of utilize my tools to protect myself, but there's the Hawks coming across. You got to send all 3 with the capsule there. Like, you know that the potential is, oh, if you only send 2, I'll kill 1 and keep it alive. But all right, Tech Edge going to get utilized. You know, that it's so interesting in 2015 to pay attention to the mana base. So many players are utilizing Tectonic Edge, Ghost Quarter, and Manlands. All right, we see 2 Manlands on the battlefield already. The Creeping Tar Pits specifically for our Tezzeret player, but there's Celestial Colonnade, there's the Raging Ravines, like Inkmoth Nexuses, like the land and utilizing them as win conditions was definitely much more prevalent in the 2015 era. So having those tools to get rid of stuff is you know, really interesting to see that sort of dynamic that's built out. Like, just like how we talk about Spellskite being such a crucial part of the 2015 meta, having these specific lands at your disposal, like, oh, my list has a 1 of Tech Edge in it, my list has like a 1 of Ghost Quarter in it, right? You know, like, this just sort of like, if you can make it work to have that in there. Or you might be on the game plan of, oh no, I'm on the manland plan and I'm just trying to utilize, here's my 4 Raging Ravines in my list, or here's a bunch of my Colonnades and I'm not utilizing, but I feel like most control decks are. But even there, look, the Torpor Orb, talk about specking for the tournament there. That shuts off the Deceivers, that shuts off the Pestermites, and really says, no, you are not going to be able to get those ETB effects there. Even like Amulet Titan, no Amulet to find lands there. So, but the Amulet list at the time was also a Hive Mind style deck, so there is a little bit of other pivot avenues here. But do some blocking, gain 1. Tezzeret, of course, gets dropped down again to 1 loyalty there. And then they do a confirmation check on Emiria here. So if we need to have 7 or more lands, then we can start bringing creatures back from our graveyard. But there is the namesake of the deck, Martyr Sands, and of course, signed up. We'd love to see it. But yeah, X times 3 life, with X being the number of white cards that are revealed from hand. All right, Bottled Cloister trigger, draw an extra card, draw for turn. Yeah, this is the thing, right? We're seeing like this card advantage engine really start to ramp up now. Going, okay, cool. Let's see what other tools I can find. And you see, yep, that's a Chalice. So it is a bit of that lockout prison style, but not really relying on, let's lock you out with like the lantern pieces, because we don't even need them. We're not going for the mill line, right? All right. 3 mana here. What do we got? Okay, Thirst for Knowledge. Draw 3, discard 2, unless you discard an artifact. The Tezzeret's list, run it. This also gets to see play in the Mono Blue Tron list during the era. So, you know, Thirst for Knowledge, pretty powerful card. Love to see it. Also getting as much information before you kind of start jamming other cards. Right? Basically, we're in tap out mode. You also have to think Counterspell is not legal in the format at the time. Mox Opal going to get resolved. Mana Leak is. We've also got Condescend. Not that these lists, not that the Dimir Tezzeret list is running either of those, but just trying to think of, you know, tools that are available at the time. And so it is definitely a, you know, both players here are starting to kind of see the game plans. They're seeing the pieces get assembled on both sides and trying to piece together and work through these lines of, okay, what can I do to set myself up for success here? I've got a lot of the pieces. I haven't really been pressured yet because I keep playing these Planeswalkers and those are starting to take hits. So I got to just sort of set myself up to create as many lockout pieces and disruptive pieces to eventually get to a place that I can win, where the Martyr players they're on the other side trying to gain a bunch of life, go into this side of like big hits before things get out of hand. The Chalice on 1 definitely messes things up because that means the Martyr Sands won't be able to be recast. That means that Sear Ascendant won't be able to be recast, but we get a reveal here of 4 cards, 12 life gained. Squadron Hawk, Path to Exile, Wrath of God. Is that 2 Wrath of Gods? Might be 2 Wrath of Gods. All right, Big Punchies. This does gain flying, lifelink. So there's the Executioners. Let's pop that. And Tezzeret will be able to take 3. Kills off Tezzeret number 2 here. And that is the secret lair version of a Tezzeret, the one that's like That and there was a couple other. I think there's like Teferi and a few others that don't look like regular planeswalkers. They look like just creatures that have their text box is just full of information about being a planeswalker. All right, there's the next. Battle it out over the lands. Get rid of the utility lands. Leave our opponents with all the planes here. I like the planes choice too. I'm liking the land choices from both the players here. Did you see that swamp that our Tezzeret players utilizing? I don't know. How do you like to spice up your deck? Are you a, mixed match lands, white border lands, full art lands? Go for whatever lands you just have in your desk, on your desk. What do you go for there? I mean, I definitely am one of those liking very specific types of lands, especially the basic lands, and going for very specific art to associate with my decks. I mean, you guys have seen the Infect deck on the channel quite a bit. Which, if you guys didn't see last Thursday's episode, it was Lumra Landfall versus Simic Infect. And we got to see those cool lands. But new Tezzeret coming out. Tezzeret the Seeker gives us a little bit of untappy abilities here. Uptick, untap 2 artifacts. But really we care about the tutor effect. -X, search your library for an artifact card with converted mana cost X or less. Looks like we're going to search for something that costs 3 here. Any guesses? Yep. Ensnaring Bridge. We talked about it at the beginning of the episode. That Bottled Cloister combination with Ensnaring Bridge just goes, all right, I'm done. I'm not taking any more damage. I can't necessarily hit you yet, but you just wait. I could eventually. You'd have to get another Tezzeret, start ensouling the artifacts, and then be okay, but then have to pay for Ghostly Prism as well. I really like that the Tezzeret players just placing their hand on top of the Bottled Cloister, just sort of like, hey, here's a trigger, boom, put it there, not thinking about it, not worrying about it. But how will our Martyr player get out of this? This then becomes their spot to go, okay, what do I got available to me in game 1? What are the tools that I got? The Martyr player just made the joke because this is more of a puzzle than a Magic the Gathering game. Now because it really is. It's really gotten to that point of both players are like, okay, I think I've got the tools that I need to execute my game plan. Right? We saw the Martyr of Sands sacrifice there. We saw the Sear Ascendant. Okay, cool. We're setting some stuff up, but now we're in this kind of, all right, what can we do now that Ensnaring Bridge is out? What can we do now that we've got the Chalice out? Tezzeret, Agent of Bolas. That's really nice. Looks like we might be going into just get information. Look at the top 5. Try to find another artifact. Ooh. Okay. More tools. More tools to help us out. But yeah, we can set ourselves up to try to get to the alt stage. Yep. And Sear Bridge numero dos. Coming on out. And Witchbane Orb. I love me. Another card that I used to run in my Lantern Control deck. Yeah. You have Hexproof. When it enters the battlefield, destroy all curses attached to you. There are 0 curses attached to this player. That's irrelevant. As much as I'm basically playing a ley line here. I have protection. All right. Upkeep. Playing 6. Proclamation. There's the second half of the name Martyr Proc. Proclamation of Rebirth. I'm going to forecast this, reveal this from my hand, return target creature with a cost of 1 or less. Here is our Martyr of Sands, and it goes to the battlefield. So this is the crazy part of the forecasting. All right, there's basically 2 relevant forecast cards. There's this, and then there's like a lion that when you forecast it, you make birds. This is from like original Ravnica. I think those are the only 2 forecast cards that I've ever seen see play. And even then, it's like they're in very, very specific decks and don't really see play otherwise. But yeah. They're just confirming how it works. Is yeah, revealing it. You're playing it from your hand, but it's not actually being discarded essentially because you're using this ability, the forecasting, to do this. But what are we at the artifact count? Are we close? Like, part of the problem though is with the Martyr of Sands there, we can just keep doing that. We can gain so much life here. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Oh, Pithing Needle. There we go. Pithing Needle comes into play, and we are going to name Martyr of Sands. So I was just going to say, how do we stop this, like, infinite life gain, essentially, with the forecasting? And that's where the, like, proc part comes in, like, crazy powerful, because it's like either you're getting tools like this where you're just like, all right, I'm going to just gain a bunch of life. I'll get back Sear Ascendant. I'll do, you know, like, we'll start going to the beat down plan. Right now we have no way to do the beat down with Ensnaring Bridge, 1 or 2 out, but at least we had the Martyr Sands to gain all this life and really kind of stop our opponent from being able to execute their game plan of beat us with the, like, creatures, right? Turning their stuff into man lands. If we had, like, a Sear Ascendant, or we kept gaining too much life, we'd be okay. So now how will our Tezzeret player answer, or how will our Martyr player answer the Tezzeret's Pithing Needle here? Like, we're in this kind of, like, both players just sort of going back and forth right now. Okay, here's this. I'll respond with this. Here's that. Okay, I'll respond with this. But right now, it's definitely the Martyr player just saying, okay, I'll try to answer with this. Oh, didn't work out so well. So now I got to find another route. Thirst for Knowledge going to get cast over here as we kind of are continuing to kind of dig up. I think we're just in that, like, I need to just build up my artifact count, right? Chalice of the Void getting discarded. Oh, Liliana. I like that. So each player discards a card. Opponent sacks a creature, or -6, separate all permanents the opponent controls into 2 piles. They get to keep 1. All right. But how, yeah, what's our artifact count? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14? Maybe 15? Which is only 30. So we need to find 3 more artifacts. All right, Cloister Trigger. Let's draw 2. I don't know. I like these artifact pile decks. I would definitely pilot something like this. I mean, I played Lantern Control back in the day. Like, the decks are super fun to pilot, but really tough to be on the receiving end. And when you're just sort of like, well, I guess I can't play the game, and it's like, yep, that's the goal. Oh, Trading Post in here. Talk about a card that you never really see, except for maybe in Commander at this point in time, right? Discard a card, gain 4 life. You know, that's pretty relevant. Make a goat. Are we doing it? Martyr Proc. They were just confirming what the what the names of the decks are for this round. All right. Oh, I missed the life total switch. They went to 19. They did pay the life. They're creating a goat. I'm not going to draw. I'm going to untap these 2 artifacts. Oh, cool. Sack a creature. Sack my goat. To return an artifact. Okay. Return our Dimir Signet. So yeah, sadly I missed a life total because the Trading Post did pay life to make the goat. And then Uptick Lily. Ah, okay. So whatever cards we have in our hand, we care about more than, and we wanted to make sure we're upticking Lily. So it's like, okay, well, let's make sure we can return this card, specifically an artifact, right? And then we get to just go right into discard mode. All right, get another Signet. All right, yeah, key artifact count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I think we're still around 15, maybe 16. 15 or 16. Still not enough. We're close. We need like 2 more artifacts and then we're good. All right, we're going to game 2. I think it was one of those we could have gone and tried to have fought it a little bit more. I don't know. Like, the Wrath of Skies, maybe kill some of the spell skites, but it's really just delaying the inevitable, right? With the ability to return artifacts from our graveyard, we have Academy runes. Like, we got a bunch of tools on the other side, so it's like, yeah, there was a long grind in game 1. I've got a bunch of tools at our disposal in the sideboard because we know how much sideboard games impact things. So that is definitely going to be the choice. Let's go look through what we have available and start to kind of find tools to deal with the artifact deck, because that's what the Martyr Proc is going to do.
Interrupting our gameplay to let you know about our new affiliate with Nerd Gear. Nerdgear.gg/NanMan will take you directly to the website, and as you can see, they've got a bunch of awesome gaming accessories, from playmats, life counters with the life tracks, playmat holders, and more. So make sure you do some browsing on the site, find some goodies, and then use the code NGNanMan for 5% off your entire order. But let's get back to our gameplay.
All right. So, yeah, make sure you guys check out Nerd Gear. Check out their playmats. Check out the playmat holders. They got some cool sleeves, dice, +1 counters, all kinds of goodies over there to be able to look at. So, use their code. Get some discounts. Helps support the channel. But let's get into Game 2 post-board action. What do we got at our disposal to help us? I mean, again, we get a mulligan happening. Game 1, both players mulligan to 6. Game 2, we're seeing just our Tezzeret player mulligan. Also, to note is the difference here in the mulligan rules. At the time, the mulligan rule was set up to be a scry instead of a draw 7, put 1 on the bottom. So, you know, seeing that difference definitely helps a lot of decks. All right, we're happy with this 6. All right, Emiria tapped. Pass. Dark Slick Shores into a Thoughtseize. Ooh. 2 Stony Silence, Kami, Martyr, Aven. Oh, that's tough. Seeing 2, like if it was just 1 Stony Silence, you feel great because you're like, strip that away. Cool, I'm protected, I'm safe. But seeing 2, it's like, oh gosh. Do I have the tools? I mean, I don't even know if there's any tools to deal with that. Maybe. Oh, we do. It says, no, I'm sorry. I'd like to take the Aven Mind Sensor instead of the Stony Silence there. I mean, maybe the list runs like a repeal or 2. I don't know. I don't think so. Because it's not like the Mono Bluetron that does run that. Oh, Second Thoughtseize. All right, we're just going on that attack the hand plan. All right, strip away the tools. 1 and 2 gone. So we got rid of Aven Mind Sensor, which does mess up searching libraries. You only get to look at those top 4 cards. So they looked at the Ranger Captain, or yeah, Ranger Captain of Eos. Captain, I don't remember which version it is. It's the 4-drop one though. It's also signed. One of the Stony Silence is gone, though. Second one's already out. No second land here is interesting. Flagstones pass. Not playing our Kami or our Martyr or anything right now. We're fine with that. Oh, okay, that's why. All right, Spellskite is played. And then you saw our Glimmer Void. Glimmer... Whatever the land is that says you have to sack it if you don't control any artifacts. Liliana, though. Ooh. I mean, uptick. Everyone discards. You force the Martyr to go away now, but that's not really beneficial for you. All right. Looks like it's a time. Yeah. Sack Martyr Sands. How much are we going to gain? Okay. Pretty good. We're going to play both here. Weathered Wayfarer and Sarah Ascendant. Right now at 29 life, though. Didn't get to that magic 30 yet, but we're getting closer. Getting closer to having that as a 6/6 lifelink flyer. Lily's going to be tough to deal with, though. I would assume we go for the minus here. Unless we have some more tools to deal with the creatures that are out. I mean, the Wayfarer gets destroyed, right? Like, that sacrifice. Sarah Ascendant flies in, does 1 damage to Lily. Lily drops to 1 loyalty. You know, we're in this sort of, like, again, ebb and flow moment of the game. Where both players are just sort of like, all right, I'm playing this. Are you responding? Okay, how are we going to deal with this? Okay, I was like, oh, are we upticking? We could have. Especially because we're not worried about losing Lily next turn. She would have been at 5 loyalty, but... Ooh, Crucible Worlds is fun. So, Crucible Worlds lets us play our lands from the graveyard. With all of the graveyard interaction we've got in the sense of ghost quartering our opponents, that's pretty nice. All right, do some blocking. The lifelink kicks in. We'll gain. Be sitting here at 30, so now we can be able to fly in for 6 next turn and get rid of Lily. All right, there's the confirm. It's a 6/6 flyer, so that if you had to dismember or something, not even good enough.
So you apply Tools of Care and what's the other one? A Myriad of the Sky.
All right, just confirming the lands. Okay. I mean, we're in a good spot for like tools, but it's really advantage meter wise is on our Martyr Proc player. They've got a 6/6 flyer that they need to find an answer to, and that's a pretty good answer. Let's try to protect our Lily utilizing Ensnaring Bridge. That'll put everything that has less power able to attack. If it's got more power, not able to attack. Looks like Wrath of God and Thirst of Knowledge, both discarded for players off of that.
Actually, I haven't played a land yet this turn. Yeah, all Ghost Quarter, Ameria. Sure.
Ghost Quarter, Ameria. Play Ghost Quarter from graveyard. All right. Land counts reset. Ghost Quarter's ready to pop and blow something up. Okay, draw step. Let's pop one of the planes. Now here's the difference. Ghost Quarter lets us target basics, while Tectonic Edge does not target basics. It only targets non-basics. So a little bit of nuance between both the lands that you'll see play in 2015 Modern. All right, how are we going to deal with the bridge? I mean, the Stony Silence is annoying, but you'll notice a lot of these artifacts are static artifacts. Oh, Disenchant is nice. That'll work. Single target. And because of the Stony Silence, we can't actually redirect it to Spell Guide. I was going to say, all these are passive. Like, the Stony Silence isn't doing as much work as we thought it would, but right there is that crucial amount that it needed to really come in clutch and be able to not be able to save the day and save the ensnaring bridge. So, okay, that's, pretty powerful stuff. Saracen dealt with Liliana, and now our Tezzeret player is kind of in scramble mode. You see them sort of, all right, let's go 4 mana. Let's go digging. Tezzeret, Agent of Bolas. I mean, we could minus here. I don't think the race is a good idea, though. I think us looking for a tool is more important. I mean, Tezzeret's going to die either way, right? So maybe there is a capsule at the top we can use, but it doesn't look like it here. Thinking about the... Thinking about the Talisman, but ended up grabbing a Dark Citadel there. So another land. And there is Tezzeret gone.
And I'll play Saracen.
Saracen at number 2. Now you have 2 6/6 flyers with lifelink. Yeah, again, the 5/5, if we had made Spellskite into a 5/5, would not have been relevant or impactful there. Land go. Big punchies.
Swing 12.
There's 12.
54, you go into 4. I'll flip one. Play Flagstone's Trick Airs.
Flagstones. And let's do some shortcutting. Pop this. Play this. Ranger of Eos. He's not the captain, y'all. Captain got printed in Modern Horizons. But this is the Ranger of Eos. Let's go find some 1-drops. Some players used to experiment this in like a Esper style or a black-white Death Shadow, because you can find a 1-drop, and we see gathering up some additional Sarah Ascendants 1, 2, 3, and 4. And yeah, the life totals did not change, even though it's basically the player at 4, but part of that was because they were going to scoop there. Going, well, nope. I got nothing that can deal with a bunch of 6/6s flying and lifelink. So we're going to get into game number 3 here. Of course, all the sideboarding action we have cut out, so you don't get to see that on the channel. We just sort of do the little snap cut, go right into it. Try to maximize gameplay and action for you viewing at home. If there were interesting discussions from the players about sideboarding stuff, or we got to see a little bit of a reveal based on the camera angle, what they bring in, that makes sense. That then it goes, oh, okay, yeah, we can keep that in. Also, some players do have discussions after the matches. So if you want to see a little bit more about what people brought in, try to stay tuned for after the match, because we do get into that in a little bit more detail. But both players going to be mulliganing down, dropping down to 6 here. Looking for more tools to be able to help them out. Actually, shout out to my buddy Andrew, who is the Dimir Tezzeret player here. He was the one that told me about this event and was, mentioned it to me, because he has been coming out and playing at our LGS in the area, which is about an hour away from Watchtower Games. And it's like, yeah, that sounds awesome. I would love to go and, check out that event. So
I don't think so either.
we'll see how
At
this...
least we'll have fun with it.
I mean, there's some tools. Is it enough? I see a Martyr of Sands. Looks like maybe a Squadron Hawk as well. Yeah, that seems like, okay, you can gain a bunch of life at least. All right, Ghost Quarter go. Flagstones. Any 1-drop? Pass. Yeah, you don't want to jam out a Martyr without being able to pop it. Then again, there's no Fatal Push in the format. Right? We've talked about it. You got a Lightning Bolt. You've got Path to Exile, but removal is light.
Flagstones.
All right, flagstones, and hawk time. Hawk out. Let's go. All right. Turn 3, though, you see that dice ticking up. That means they have already made it to turns. Even though we're only in like 40-minute mark or something of the video. Again, we talked about cutting out some of the dead space when it comes to sideboarding. So some of that action has been taken up, so you didn't have to worry about that, because there was sideboarding that took place between game 1 and 2 as well as 2 and 3, as players just sort of go, oh, maybe I don't need this, or maybe I need now other ways to kind of answer my opponent. So Thoughtseize is going to come out. Ooh, look at this artifact hate here. Disenchant, Stony Silence, you see those kind of set aside over to the right, because we know that those are going to be the ones that are going to get answered, and Stony Silence is going to get grab there, especially because we have the Dimir Signet. We want to make sure we still have access to mana, because otherwise we don't have access to any colored mana at the moment. Mox Opals, oh my gosh, even more so. Yeah, we don't want to make sure that we can still utilize our tools here, but good call. Flying across, hawk out, dropping down that 1 damage, 17. So, and there it is, 1/1/1. There's the draw between the players. That happens though when you have two very controlly decks like that like are designed to sort of get these slow incremental advantages to set themselves up. And you know, I do know that both of these players place very highly at the event. Not going to give any spoilers at the moment about who was able to make top 8 or not. I'm sure you guys have already seen the website and seen it if you were participating in the event, but one of these lists in particular did make the top 8. The other one came very close to making top 8. So, spoilers. So both of them were sitting, this was round 2, so they're both undefeated. And so now they're still undefeated technically. They're sitting at 1-1-1. 1-0-1, right? 1 win, 0 losses, and 1 tie. So that's worth 4 points right now. But yeah, we can see them just sort of going through and discussing the sideboard action right now. And sort of, I like the, here's the Thoughtseize brought in. Looks like our, is that Aether Grid, or I can never remember the name, but the red card that you tap an artifact, deal 1 damage. But ley lines are coming in. Yeah, look at, he says, I think I might have overboarded for you, but I had so many dead cards. Like Path to Exile does nothing against you.
And then like Tezzeret targets, Aether Grid targets. There's no way for me to win the game unless you board out, like if you keep in Ghostly Prison, I can't ult.
Yeah, I kept in 2 of those. I got rid of like a lot of long game plan stuff.
Okay.
So, and also, since you had Chalice, like that's blank most of the time. So.
Yeah, I think I brought out 1 Chalice. I probably should just brought out all of them, but I brought out just pretty much all the removal, which maybe isn't the best thing to do, but I think I have one more jar I brought in.
Yeah.
It's just so bad against Stony, like it's like so rough against Stony.
Yeah, and also like that affects your mana too is super rough.
Yeah.
Because I saw the Talamans, the Signet, and the Darksteel set it also.
Yeah, that's the other thing too, is I'm going to interrupt them for a second there, but one of the things that was so difficult at the time is, like, if you're in blue-black, you have no ways to really deal with things like Stony Silence. Like, even when you were playing, like, a Lander Control, you still had access to things like Abrupt Decay or other tools to be able to deal with it. But if you're in blue and black, there's not really enchantment removal at the time in 2015. Even now in 2026, there's very little enchantment removal in those 2 colors, so you have to kind of rely on other tools to be able to help you out there. But hope you guys enjoyed this one. This was round number 2 from the event. Of course, Moxfield's got deck lists as well as tournament information for you guys to be able to check out in the description. Next Monday, we'll see round number 3. Thursday, more modern gameplay. But that's going to do it for us here today. Thanks so much for tuning in and watching, y'all, and I'll see you all next game.